friends, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and in this video I want to share with you how I organize my summer. I am a huge believer of planning and preparation. I really believe that a summer can be fun when it's done by design as opposed to by default. So in this video I just want to share with you how I design my summer so that I can get the most out of it, and so that by the end of the summer I'm not feeling like we just wasted every day watching screens or just kind of scrambling around trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with these kids in my house all day. So if you're interested in learning that kind of stuff, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you are new to my channel and you don't know who I am, again, my name is Kaylin. I'm the mom of 3 young kiddos. My oldest will be turning 7 this summer. So I've got a lot of busybodies that want to be entertained all summer long. Now, I definitely do not believe that summer is a time when parents need to step up and entertain their children for the entire duration of the day. It's impossible and exhausting for us to have to do that. But I do believe that summers can be really fun for both parent and child when they're planned out and organized and created thoughtfully. So, towards the beginning of spring, this year I did it in May, so I guess it's toward the end of spring, I usually begin planning out my summer calendar. And I always start big on a monthly scale, and then I narrow it down onto a daily schedule. So I'm gonna cover both of those. So let me show you how I do a monthly schedule first. So what I end up doing is I print off, these are just calendars that I got off of a Teachers Pay Teachers account, and she just had these really cute designs. You can get them free, I'm sure, if you just like hop on somewhere, or maybe you're really good on the computer and you can create some fun stuff yourself. But these are just 2 summer calendars. I have both July and August, obviously. And then what I do is I get onto a search engine on the internet and I just search activities in my area. So you can go county-wide, so you can say activities in my county, or you can go statewide, activities to do in Utah, because I live in the state of Utah, or you can go city and just say activities to do in my city. And usually you can come up with event calendars that the city will put together, and you can find different things that are going to be happening within your community. Lots of times there's like concerts in the park during the summertime or movies in the park. Our area has a lot of like rodeos and festivals and that sort of thing that happen within each city and each county over the course of the summer. And so I like to get all of those kind of free go-to experience type activities, see which ones fit into what we're doing, and begin filling out my calendar there. Another thing you're gonna wanna do is fill in those things that are for sure going to be happening. I usually do that first, so you'd have to like back up a little bit. But if you have like a family reunion or a camp or something that you've already registered for, block out those days on your monthly calendar so you know that those are the things that are already filled and you don't need to find activities for those days. Then go to your website and try to find community activities, county activities, fairs, festivals, music, that sort of thing that you can do that's free and fun. Maybe your local library is having some fun like craft days or that sort of thing that you want to fit into your calendar. So then I fill all of those things in. Another thing I like to do is try and experience one fun big thing with my kiddo with each one. So as they get older, my baby's still a little bit young, but my 6-year-old really wanted to do the theater this year. So we are taking him to a theater production at an outdoor theater. And so I needed to look up and find tickets for that and see what fit into my schedule. So after I fill in all of those big activities, and it's not every day of every week or anything like that, but it's usually kind of hit or miss thrown in throughout the summer and on Saturdays. My husband is home from work on Saturdays, so almost every Saturday I tried to find some kind of fun, go-do activity that we can do together as a family. Not every Saturday because the lawn still needs to be mowed and that sort of thing, but we have a few fun things to happen over the Saturdays. So you filled up your calendar. The next thing that I'm gonna do is fill in all of the holes so that it doesn't look like there's weeks on end where nothing is planned. And in those small holes, I'm going to put free, fun, small activities that we can do at home. And those are things like baking in the kitchen, making a craft, building a fort, going to the water park or to the swimming pool or the splash pad or something like that, having a water balloon fight. Anyway, just little things like that. We have passes to our local aquarium, so that would be like a free, you know, not necessarily fancy thing to do, but you can just fill in the holes. I like to go to the library. I have library days down, hikes if you want to like search in your area for a fun creative hike you can do, going to lunch with my husband at his place of business. Anyway, lots of those types of things. You just kind of like throw them into your calendar as well so that you have those days planned out, as well as having blank days. You'll see on my calendar here, like I have blank days where we're not doing anything. And these, you know, the laundry still has to get done and you still got to clean the bathroom. So it's nice to have down days where the kids can entertain themselves and be busy and that kind of stuff so that mom can get her work done as well. So after I have completed my monthly calendar, the next thing I do is I create a daily schedule. Now I don't keep my daily schedule like to the T. It's not like a classroom where the bell rings and we have to move on to the next activity. But I do schedule it out so that my kids know when their screen time is, when their lunch time is, when they're going to be needing to go outside and play, when is quiet time, just so that it's good for mom and it's good for my kids. And in the first couple days of summer, I actually post it up. You can kind of see it behind me here, and I'm going to get closer for you in a minute so you can see. But I actually post it up on our wall in a public space. So for us, it's in our schoolroom so that my kids can see what's coming up for the day and they can know what's planned. Now, I made new ones this year. I've had these before, but I made new ones, and they just have different things on here that we're gonna be doing. So for summer activity, I explained this to my kids. A summer activity is when we are doing an activity at home. And then another one here says summer adventure. And this is when we get in the car and we go somewhere and experience something together, okay? And then I've got like snacks on here. Now, hold on to just a minute and I'll come over and I'll show you what I've got on the board behind me. Okay, so this is the calendar that I have on the board behind me. Excuse me as I try to hold my camera here. So I've written the hours along this side of the board here. Now in previous years, I've actually had like papers with the hours, but I find it just actually works a lot better for me to write because I can, you know, change the times up and the hour blocks to my discretion as each day goes. Okay, so yes, I have breakfast at 7 o'clock. My kids know that breakfast is served. So if they're out of bed before then, they're not gonna be asking me for food. My kids usually watch TV in the morning, so I tell them at 8 o'clock we need to, whoops, sorry about that. We need to be turning the TV off. Ooh, it looks like it's about to pop off of the screen there. I'm gonna talk about that in just a second, why these pop off. Anyway, exercise is another activity that I have. Now this isn't necessarily exercise as it can be, but it's more like we're gonna go outside and be physically active together. So we can go on a bike ride, walk around the neighborhood, go to the pond and throw rocks, go to the park, anything that's outdoors and where my kids are moving their bodies, okay? Intentional moving their bodies, all right? Then we start, this is our summer basket time right here. So I'm gonna have my kids read for 20 minutes a day, and this is independent reading where they're gonna be reading by themselves. Not necessarily silent sustained reading because my kids are still quite young, so we kind of are working together, but my oldest is reading on his own and then I'm reading with the 2 younger kids. And then my summer basket, I did a whole video about what's in my summer basket, so I'll link that above and you can check that out. But this summer basket takes us about an hour to do. So this whole time here is about an hour and a half-ish. So it's, I don't know, about in there. But I want to try and be done by 11 o'clock so that we can, again, go outside and play. I'm a huge proponent of being outside during the summertime, and it gets pretty hot in the afternoon hours, so I try to get my kids outside 2 times at least in the morning before we have lunch in the afternoon. The baby sleeps, and then he'll see I wrote this in here, which is probably gonna bug me forever. I'll have to make sure and print off a thing for that. But between the hours when my son wakes up from his nap at 3 until we have screen time at 4, my kids need to have independent playtime where they just have to find something to do, whether they, I just gave them a camcorder, an old camcorder, so they're really into making movies right now, or if they play a board game, or if they go outside again, or whatever they want to do, that's their own playtime. I do have an hour and a half of screen time down here. This could include a show or video games or that sort of thing. And it may seem like a lot of time for some of you, but for us, it's actually kind of good because we only have screen time during this hours of the day where they're allowed to, and they do a little bit in the morning, but it's usually not very much. So this is like their screen time, and it is summer, so I do allow them to have their screen time every day during the summer, so except for Sundays. But anyway, and then I try to get dinner on the table at about 6 o'clock. So this is the big picture of how each of our days are gonna go, and I'm gonna show you really quick. So I've talked about these on a previous video. Oh, they're right here. You see it even stuck off. So these are magnets that I've cut up. They're actually for, what are they for? Let me turn the camera around. Hold on a minute. Okay, it's easier for me to talk to you than it is to have my talking hand. But anyway, so I've talked about these before, and these are magnets that you buy as a set. You can get like 100 of them, and they're for business cards. You slap your business card in the back and it creates like a magnet. Well, I like to cut them up and make magnets for all kinds of papers and yada, yada, yada. Well, then I chose to laminate this, and when I bought my magnets, my second or third batch probably, I went with a little bit less expensive brand, and I haven't been satisfied. So I'm just gonna toss in there as a tip, if you choose to use this kind of cool, whatever you wanna call it, supply in this way, don't stinch on a less expensive brand, because the better brands are a thicker, more whatever, stronger magnet, and it would hold up your laminated papers better. It does work just fine with just a regular piece of paper, I've noticed, like computer paper, but when I laminate something like this is laminated and cardstock and computer paper, so these magnets don't really hold up, and I find that, you know, I'm constantly trying to put them up there and re-adhere them to the what is this called, lamination. So anyway, just like a little tip on that if you choose to do it that way. But you can, of course, just use tape. I like magnet because you can move the schedule around if you want to like throw in an activity in a different place during your day than you usually do. Of course, you can change the hours when you write it on your schedule. But you want to try to keep it as a consistent flow as possible, because the kids really thrive on routine. And when my family know what to expect in future hours, it's a lot less stressful for them and for me, because they're not lying around on the couch being like, Mom, what do I do? Mom, I'm bored. So anyway, so those are the two things that I've done. And then the last thing that I have, which I should have brought here to show you, but I left it downstairs. I have a jar that's full of just craft sticks, and on each of the craft sticks, I have probably about 30 craft sticks in there. And on each of the craft sticks, I've written an idea of something that they can do during their free play time. It's like an I'm bored jar. There's a lot of those floating around on Pinterest and the like, that you can get ideas so that you can create an idea jar for your kids. Then when it's time for independent play, like for me, it's down here on the bottom for like the last hour or two of our day, then the kids are tired and they don't really want to be creative and try and find something to do, then you can have that jar of activities and ideas and games that they can play. And then I also have the jars on a counter, and then underneath the counter I have a cupboard, and inside the cupboard are different supplies that go along with that jar. So if they want to paint, all their painting supplies are down there. If they want to do like a paper craft, then I have all the paper crafts down there as well. All of these are independent activities, so stuff that I don't have to do with them. And I tried to be a little more creative than like read a book or, you know, write a letter to your friend, just because I wanted to. I do have one that says write a letter to your cousin, but anyway, I wanted it to try and be something that I would want to do. I know that like when I get bored, especially like thinking back to my childhood, reading a book wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do as a kid. And my kids aren't necessarily thriving readers right now, where they just love to pore over books. If that's what your kiddo loves to do, then of course you want to put that on the stick, and they would love to make that choice. But I'm pretty sure my kids would go through 100 sticks before they'll choose one. But anyway, it's just an idea jar, so that when the kids come to you and they're like, Mom, I'm bored, then you can just point them in a direction, and you don't have to be like, okay, well, what are my go-to activities that I can suggest for you to do? So anyway, when I plan out my summers, they're so much more enjoyable, and it's enjoyable and exciting for me as well because I don't feel like I'm scrambling every day. Like, what am I going to do to fill your time? I've got stuff to do, and I do have stuff to do. I am still a busy mom that has to run the household, but I work those times around my kids' play hours, and then at the beginning and end of the day as well. And I make those breaks throughout the month so I have full days where I can catch up on laundry or housework or that sort of thing, so that I don't fall too far behind. But I do try to enjoy as much time playing with my kids and showing my kids stuff, taking my kids to experience things around, just because this time with them is so short. And I've mentioned before on my channel, but there's a quote that I love to follow, and it goes like this. It says, "I'd rather have a backache now than a heartache later." And that's really how I feel, because I don't want my kids to grow up and then just have my heart ache because I missed out on all this time, because I was just too busy doing laundry or running the house or trying to figure out the next best system or program or whatever for organization. So anyway, try to add a little bit of structure into your summer, see how it fits. It's got to be really flexible. You've got to be really okay with things kind of ebbing and flowing, because that's what summer about. You don't want to live with this strict code of at 4 o'clock every day and at 2 o'clock every day we do this, that, and the other. But it is helpful to have some of those things in place. It just makes the summer go by really smoothly and really well, and you have a lot of fun as well. So anyway, hopefully you have found some value in this and that you can adapt it a little bit and make it work in your family so that you can have a smooth and happy summer organized time. If you have found some value, go ahead and give me that like up in the like button down below. And if you're new and have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would encourage you to do so. I'm a homeschooling mama of 3, and I do a lot of homeschooling videos, curriculum videos, and how to I do things, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in hearing all that kind of information, then I'd like to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much for watching, and happy summer, everyone.